be just sharing a little bit about how my work compensation claim was approved, why, and then a couple of the steps following this to answer your question. So I've just made a few notes, so I'm sharing everything with the correct terminology. So firstly, yes, my compensation claim was successful. So it was approved within a 6-week time frame, and that was due to the company immediately admitting fault to the incident. So they did in fact admit fault because I had actually immediately gone to my GP within a week of the incident occurring. When the incident occurred on a Friday, I went into work on the Monday, had a breakdown, had a panic attack. That was the same day that I was given advice from someone close to me who said, go to the GP as soon as possible to then submit a workers' compensation claim. You're clearly traumatized and this is not okay, and you need to seek that help immediately. Because I did everything so quickly, I believe that is why my claim was approved very, very soon. At the time when I was awaiting the claim to be approved, I actually was thinking, oh my gosh, this is taking so long. But when I actually I've spoken to a few people now who have been through the similar pathways, and one lady that I spoke to, her claim actually originally was rejected. She had to resubmit it to get it approved because the company that she was working for at the time denied anything happening. So it really depends on whether the company is going to either admit or deny that the incident has occurred and that the employee is now facing a psychological injury. I didn't actually ever go back to the workplace. So we had an EAP program within this company, an employee assistance program. So they actually gave me, it was around 6 to 8 sessions of free counseling sessions that were included in their EAP. Actually, it was only 3 free sessions, but then my GP had asked the company to have more sessions because 3 sessions was not enough at all. So I ended up having probably 6 to 8 counseling sessions. Important to note as well that the EAPs are external third-party service providers, so everything that you share with the EAPs or the counsellors via the EAP is completely bound by privacy and confidentiality. So everything that you share within those calls and those video chats are completely private. As difficult as it can be, especially with having even less of a lack of emotional capacity or mental capacity, I was just so grateful that I had someone very close to me who could give me that guidance immediately and just basically directed me to just be like, go to the GP, get them to submit the workers' compensation claim, and then go from there. And at least that is started, at least that is actually some sort of leeway forward for you to get the help that you need. So the lady that I was then also recommended to by someone close to me, she had actually been through the whole process already. So she had some amazing advice for me. She also recommended the same no-win, no-fee lawyer that she used, and I was able to immediately gain advice from him, which was such a huge game changer in terms of having someone to actually lead me through this process and essentially paint the picture of the steps of what was to be expected. And the great thing about this again was that no-win, no-fee situations with lawyers are essentially, they will give you the advice free from when you start engaging with them, and then once you get down to the civil lawsuit route, for example, or you're getting to a point where your lawyer is then negotiating with the company that I was choosing to pursue legal action against, whatever your outcome is after negotiation with your lawyers, the lawyer will obviously take a cut of the amount that has been allocated to you. So again, the no-win, no-fee is really great because you don't have to front up any money or fees immediately. Basically, the whole time that you are on work cover, you have to have regular, consistent GP check-ins, and your GP will be providing you with a workers capacity certificate that you then provide to work cover after each of your visits. And this could also just be telehealth, for example. I'm not sure for each state and for each state regulator, but in my personal experience, I was able to access an amount of psychology sessions, which then my psychologist would create a report and send that to my GP, and that would also be part of my workers capacity certificates that were then forwarded onto work cover. Basically give them an update on how fit I was to either be working, how much work I could be doing, or if I was still completely unfit to work. Something like PTSD, which was my psychological injury in this case, your entire life and your entire career is completely impacted. So the work compensation that you receive during the time that you're on work cover, and again, sharing from my personal experience in Queensland, it's only a certain percentage of the original income that you were receiving when you were a full-time employee. So at this point, it's not even taking into consideration potential future damages, projected damages in regards to your emotional health, your physical health, your career health, your financial health, projected future damages. Obviously that doesn't scratch the surface of being able to receive proper treatment or healing or whatever it is you personally need to overcome and actually heal a psychological injury. It was something that my lawyer told me that I should ask for, which was a permanent impairment assessment request. I had no idea what that even meant at the time. I had never heard of this before. These are all part of your entitlements that none of us have ever heard of before. So this information came from my lawyer. I had to ask for this to happen. This was not okay, great, Alyssa, now you finished your workers' compensation payments and you're fit to work now, or you're on your recovery back to be able to work again. Here are the next steps. No, it wasn't like that. It was, okay, your payments are finished. Okay, bye. Essentially at this point, there's a PI assessment. There's also a medical tribunal assessment. During a tribunal assessment, what happened for me was that they essentially give you a percentage of how much the incident has impacted your overall life since the incident occurred. Now, this percentage has a monetary value. So depending on the percentage of how you've been impacted, it will translate into a monetary value. This is where you either accept the monetary offer or you reject the offer. Now in this stage, the problem with this monetary offer is that the assessment does not take into consideration how your future is impacted. So your future could be impacted because now my career is completely derailed and I'm not in a full recovery to go back to a full-time role, for example. Now I'm at a place where I have no safety, no trust for any other companies that I would want to work for, and that is now impacting my financial health, that's impacting my career trajectory. Just say, for example, I was at a manager role in the company that I was working with at the time. Just say that had the incident not occurred, fast forward maybe 3 years later, and I would have been promoted to, or on the trajectory to being a senior manager, for example, and my salary would have been, X amount more to this had the incident not occurred. So I was given advice to reject this offer, because then I would be going down the next step, which would be my lawyer creating a negotiation where he is creating a negotiation which the monetary value actually takes into consideration the future earnings, the future impact, the future consequences of my overall life due to the incident happening and due to the company being completely negligent. This is where you do want to get a very, very good lawyer to assist you in this process, solely sharing my personal experiences. Please do not construe my advice for legal advice. I'm sharing these videos for educational purposes only, and I highly suggest that you do seek a specialized employee relations lawyer to assist you should you choose to go down these different legal pathways. I only discovered all of these different terms due to having a lawyer and due to him telling me what my next steps were, and you could go down this way, you could go down this way, this is what happens if you accept this is what happens if you reject this is what happens if it actually hits a courtroom. Like he literally told me all of these routes and pathways that I could take, and I'm sharing my personal experience to help someone else feel more supported in this pathway. Please share this with someone if you know someone who has experienced a psychological injury within the Australian workplace, and please subscribe to my YouTube, and I'll see you in the next videos. Thank you so much if you watch this far.